Tally ho, it's KingFishOcean, also known as It's Ocean, blah, 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 back again with more Doki Doki Literature Club, and we are going to be checking out the reflection side story. We did the balance side story in the last episode, and we have reflection and self-love left. So let's get straight into a reflection. I'm not sure how long these two are going to be, because the previous one, balance, was actually quite short. I think it's like the shortest episode I've made of this so far. Ooh, I think this might be a new song. Doesn't sound familiar. Actually, I'm not sure. I might have heard this before. I can't remember. Anyway, Monika, am I bothering you? No. Okay, just checking. It's hard to tell since you always look so into it when you're reading. Makes me scared to interrupt. Well, it's within my expectations to be interrupted when I read here. It's mainly when I'm by myself that I don't like it. That makes sense. I guess if you're here in the first place, then you're more ready to socialize, even if it takes a little bit of prodding. It's not so bad to be social if I let others do the work. Hell yeah, I know that. I know that. So it can be healthy to put myself in a social environment every now and then. It's mostly difficult when I don't know anyone, or there are too many people, or everyone is being too silly for me to keep up with. Yuri glances across the room at Sayori and Natsuki. Sayori has her head cocked back and her mouth open, trying to catch pieces of cookie that Natsuki is lobbing in the air. But the pieces keep bouncing off her face and hitting the floor. That's a Sayori. Hell yeah. Maybe I should say something. No need, they just ran out of cookie. What a waste. They've really become good friends, haven't they? I'm happy. Sayori seems particularly good at making that happen. But the two of them are both on the energetic side, so I suppose it works out well. Yeah, come to think of it, you and I haven't had many chances to talk one-on-one, have we? So I'm guessing, I didn't actually see the image, I'm guessing this is about Monika and Yuri. Though that may be partially my fault, since I'm supposed to be the one engaging club members. Not at all. I probably formed a habit of drawing minimal attention to myself. The responsibility is equally on me, at least to display some openness to engagement. Well, what about during times like lunch? Do you, meet up with friends or anything? I just read. Oh. But I like it that way. It feels nice to be carried off again after a morning of classes. Do you always read fantasy? Oh, not always. I suppose it's all I've read recently, but only because I'm in the middle of this series. There are still 2 more books after this one. I guess those long books suit you well then, huh? Since you spend so much time reading. Well, fantasy may be my favorite, but after that I'm more or less indiscriminate to genres. I'll read anything with depth and maturity. Oh yeah? Even romance? Well, there are a lot of books that have elements of romance in them. Oh, come on, Yuri, you know what I mean. Monika lowers her voice. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, so don't tell anyone else. So I won't tell anyone if you do too. Maybe more when I was in middle school. I mean, I was really lonely and people were mean to me a lot, so I just kind of felt like that. Please don't make me think about the past. Sorry, I just got super curious. You know, we should totally pick out a romance novel to read. That'd be so much fun. Absolutely not. Really? Even if it was just between us? Just try asking someone who has no shame like Natsuki. Ouch. Sorry, I swear I didn't mean it like that. Well, I guess it was my fault for pressuring you. I'm like that for things in my past, too, you know? Things I feel too embarrassed to re-experience. There's nothing wrong with growing out of things. It happens to everyone eventually. For instance, Natsuki's interest in manga reminds me quite a bit of how intense I used to be about my own interests. Makes me think that she'll likely grow out of it too. Probably not. Hey, were you talking about me? No, we were just, we were just talking about how our interests have changed over the years. When did you get into manga, Natsuki? Like a couple of years ago, I guess. I was already sort of into it before that, but I wasn't really going hard until then. She wasn't going hard in the paint, yo! Oh yeah? What was it that inspired you to get more into it? I don't know. I guess... Let me think. It was after I discovered a series I really liked. Yeah, I was just really fed up with a lot of things. I got super into this one series that I really related to. I guess I had an edgy phase where I just hated everyone around me and wanted to be by myself. Was it Death Note? Was it Death Note? Hey, kind of like Yuri. Monika? Oh, sorry. That's completely wrong anyway, so It's still cool that you both really found your thing, though. They're almost like opposites, but it sounds like they helped you through a lot of hard times. You know it. Well, what the heck? Is that book even bigger than the last one you were reading? It's technically slightly longer, but not by very much. How high do you think it would go if you stacked up the whole series? Natsuki estimates by holding her hand above her head, sizing up an imaginary stack. I should get one of those mangas that's like 50 volumes long, so I can say I've read more than you. Not that I have the money for that. Please, that would hardly count when your books only have a few words per page. Rude. I know, I was just joking. I can never actually read books like yours, it's too boring for me. Yuri shoots a glance at Natsuki. It's not boring. Chill, I said for me, not for you. She did say that, Yuri. She did say that it's just her opinion. I can have my own opinion, I just think it's too convoluted. Sayori, are those from the floor? Let me guess, Sayori's eating floor cookie. Gross. Also, wash your hands before touching any of my books. But my hands aren't dirty. Just do it. The oils are there even if you can't see them. Fine. Sayori trots out the door and Natsuki follows. Yuri, you look a little upset. What kind of nerve did she have to call my hobby boring? Well, she did correct herself. Hardly. She was so condescending. I don't mind if she thinks it's not for her. I already understand that it's not for everyone. But she knows how much these mean to me. So how about just leave me alone instead of needlessly telling me the things that she hates about it? I'm sorry, Yuri. You may be right. This won't be the last time people have strong feelings about what they like and don't like. The way I see it, my voice just cracked, but whatever. The way I see it is, it's like, I've had this kind of discussion about video games with people before. I can have a debate, or maybe not a debate, a discussion about a video game that I may like. Doki Doki, we'll use Doki Doki for example. I can talk about how I really like the characters, I really like their interests and how relatable they can be. I really like the relationships that they have with one another, and I really like the soundtrack and all these other things. But someone could say, oh well, I'm not really a fan of Doki Doki because for me visual novels are boring, I'm not really a fan of that kind of thing, and I'm like, sure, no problem. I totally understand that. But I feel like Yuri's taking this too much to heart. Like, Natsuki did say that she finds that those kinds of books are too convoluted for her, but she said that that's too convoluted for her. She wasn't saying that Yuri's not, like, incorrect for liking them or anything like that. So Yuri's taking this too much on, too much to heart. She's taking it too seriously, I feel like. She needs to kind of relax a little bit and understand that other people have different opinions on things that she may like. Yeah, I read that one. Especially in a literature club, so I should figure out how to mediate discussions to keep them positive and constructive. For the record, I've always been impressed by the level of creativity in your books, and also your ability to get through them so quickly. Thank you. Okay, well, this is something that I'll have to think about and revisit. I'm sure I can help Natsuki find some common ground with you. Common ground isn't necessary, I just wish to be respected. That then, either way, I'll do my best. I'm skeptical when it comes to Natsuki. I trust you, Monika, but I'm very skeptical. Thus the rivalry began. Okay everyone, we have a special club meeting today. As you know, the Literature Club's a place where we get to share things that we're really passionate about. I think this might be a new song as well. But also, that means that we should be mindful of how we respond to each other's feelings. I think we have a chance to turn our differences into positive energy for each other. Aren't you being a little too dramatic about this? This is important to me. Well, sorry, I just feel like I'm being accused or something. No, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, and I'm sorry if it came off that way. But our conversation yesterday made me reflect on the power of language, and I thought it would be a good topic for the Literature Club, don't you think? I'm sure we're going to have differences in opinion a lot, so I need to make sure we're prepared to keep a positive atmosphere in the club. If you say so. Sure. The cool thing about language is that it gives us a lot of different ways to express the same idea or emotion. We have a lot of control over how we want the other person to feel when receiving our thoughts. This goes for poetry, narratives, casual conversation, basically anything. For example, Sayori, what's your favorite food? What? I have them organized by category. Should I start with snacks or do you mean full meal? Should I include breakfast? Oh jeez. Okay, how about your favorite fruit?
That's easy. Cherries.
Cherries are a good pick. They are very nice. I think I'd probably go maybe banana. I like a good banana. Then I can just shove them in my mouth and go, oh, no. I'm not sure why I said that, but whatever. But bananas are quite nice. I also like pears. Pears are really nice.
Really?
I always thought cherries tasted nasty.
What? Cherries are delicious.
Wow. Wah? Wah! That's a pretty strong reaction.
Well, I just don't understand how somebody could think that cherries are nasty.
And how does it make you feel?
I don't know, sad?
Defensive, maybe?
Yeah, I got defensive.
See, the reason you had such a strong reaction wasn't just because I don't like cherries, it's because you felt like your opinion was under attack. But that's weird, right? Something like taste is completely subjective. But when I say something like, I think cherries taste nasty, I'm using objective language. I'm challenging Sayori's reality that cherries are delicious with my own, which is that cherries are nasty.
Wait, hold on. How is it objective when you just said it was only your own opinion?
It has to do with the way our brains interpret the words. You're talking about the reality of the cherries, not your feelings about them. Like Sayori. Let's rewind for a second and pretend I didn't tell you that I think cherries are nasty.
Good!
So what if instead I said, like, I've tried cherries and they're not for me. It's not the kind of flavor I enjoy.
Well, that's fine.
As long as you don't call them nasty.
Nasty is a nasty word.
Okay, so cherries was kind of a weird example, but I think it gets the point across. This time around, instead of talking about the cherries, I just talked about my feelings and Sayori didn't get defensive. So instead of clashing with each other, it's like we received an invitation to talk about our differences. I like this discussion. Yuri, you don't need to take notes. I'm not going to quiz you or anything. I know that. I was just, sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. You can do whatever you like. But does anyone have any thoughts so far?
Yeah, I just feel like I shouldn't have to put all my language for a filter just to protect someone's feelings.
Well, yeah, but then you start being... That's why everyone gets pissed off with you, Natsuki, because you're like, Yuri, your books are terrible. Like, in the main game, at least. Whereas saying that you're not a fan of that kind of style, but it's cool that Yuri does, is a much better way of putting it. Well, you don't have to. The choice is yours on how you want to come across to other people. I'm only suggesting it as a tool to help turn your differences into a positive experience rather than an argument. Right, Sayori?
Whatever you say, cherry hater.
Oh, come on. Sayori, I actually like cherries. I was just saying that to help demonstrate.
What the heck? I've been duped.
I'm sorry, Sayori. I'll make it up to you later. How about a cherry sundae? Ooh. Mwah. 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 I want a cherry sundae now as well.
You are welcome to dupe me anytime, my beloved president.
Buying your people's loyalty. How deplorable. Oh, like you would turn down a free sundae, Yuri. You were certainly a fan of those cupcakes I brought in the other week. I was reading and not keeping track of them. Oh, that's enough. We're getting off topic. So now that we have the gist of it, how about we try it with something more relevant to the club? Like manga, right? Let's try to have a productive discussion about our differences in opinion. Yuri, do you want to start? Well, I'd rather not know. Aw, how come? Well, because I don't see how anything productive can come from that. It's just gonna start a fight. No, it'll be fine. That's why I'm here to moderate. Let's just have a calm and rational discussion.
Yeah, give me a little more credit. I'm not a child. You don't have to coddle my feelings.
I always think it's more respectable to just speak your mind. Respectable? Yuri's expression changes at the word. As Monika recalls, being respected was the crux of the matter for Yuri. Well, the point of the exercise isn't exactly like... It's fine. I have nothing against anyone personally. You're entitled to enjoy whatever it is you like. I just prefer more depth and nuance in my reading material. I look for stories that are imaginative and sophisticated beyond the surface level.
Oh, well that's just a misunderstanding then. I thought you were gonna say that manga's for children or something, like I don't hear enough of that. There's plenty of deep manga.
I'm not clueless about manga. I've read my own fair share when I was younger.
What? Are you serious? How come you never told me?
Because I'm past that point in my life, and I really prefer not to revisit it. I prefer more mature things now.
Excuse me?
Okay, hold on. Can I jump in here? Let's try to keep things subjective. Because if you imply that manga is immature, then aren't you implying that someone is immature for being into it? Where was this version of Monika when we needed her?
Well, maybe it's immature to judge people for having different tastes than you. Natsuki. Nobody's immature. I've read Natsuki's manga and Yuri's fantasy, and I love them both in their own way.
Hell yeah, Sayori, best girl.
Okay. It's great that you like it, but I still find it boring.
Boring isn't subjective. Okay, it bores me. That's subjective. But, I mean, the thing about... This is ridiculous. Do you see now why I didn't want to participate in this? I knew it was just going to make people upset.
I'm not upset.
Like I said, I don't care what other people think, but I always got the impression that you secretly looked down upon me, so I'm glad my suspicions were confirmed. That's not true at all. You're making assumptions. You can't blame me for getting defensive when nobody ever has the least bit of respect for the things that I'm into. The only thing that I look down upon is when people make fun of me for just being myself and trying to mind my own business. What? Have you looked in a mirror? Tell me again about respect after calling all my interests immature. I mean, she's actually got a point for once. You can't...
Please stop! Please! Please!
You don't mean the things you're saying right now. Let's just be friends. I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, it did. So please don't invite yourself to try and solve other people's problems next time, okay? Yuri's piercing words send the club room into a choked silence as she gathers her things. She leaves. Heck. Holy crap. Never heard her sound like that before. She must be so pissed. Well, you weren't very nice either. I was just saying. How did this happen? It's my fault. Yuri wasn't wrong. I shouldn't have tried to moderate a conflict when I know how bad I am at dealing with conflicts. It was a really stupid thing for me to do. I mean, you're trying, Monika. You're trying. That's what matters.
It's nobody's fault, and it wasn't stupid. Everyone in the club is a nice person. Nobody would have expected this.
But I guess we're sensitive about the things we really love.
Honestly, she kind of brought it upon herself.
Like I said, I don't care if you're not into manga, but if you actually look down on other people for it, it's kind of the point I was trying to make in the first place. It's not about sugarcoating things, it's about just recognizing and understanding our differences.
Okay, but here's the thing about that.
Yuri actually looks down on me. It has nothing to do with her word choice or anything like that. So I see what you were trying to do, but I really think the problem here is her, not just the way we talk to each other, right? I mean,
Yuri isn't like that. She's a lot sweeter than you're giving her credit for.
I'm sure she'll be reflecting on this. I actually think that everyone should. Sayori, best girl. I'm telling you, Sayori is the fucking most... the best person here. She has the most logical mindset. She's rather fun. She wants the best for everyone. She is the best. Probably followed by Monika to a degree. Just because Natsuki and Yuri still have that kind of condescending and elitist attitude towards other people at times. Although, actually, Monika did as well, so never mind. Monika's down there with them as well. But Sayori stands out above the pack, in my opinion. I love her so goddamn much. I would like to be friends with her, and I would like to tell her that she's amazing. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out. Well, I'm just saying that instinctively. I'm just setting myself up to cause more problems.
This wasn't your fault, Monika. You don't have to beat yourself up over it.
If you ask me, it's good that the truth finally came out. Because I can just move on now.
But,
I'm fine, I promise. It's fine, I promise. Let's just get our mind off this, okay? In fact, it's a good opportunity to read some manga without having to worry about feeding Yuri's superiority complex.
Don't be mean.
I'll talk or read manga or whatever you want, but don't be mean to my friends, okay?
Wow.
Sorry. I'm just bitter. That's one way to put it. Everything will be okay. I mean, I don't have the answers, but I at least know that we're all good people and don't want to hurt each other. This will be a learning experience. Monika says that, but her uneasiness is given away by how much she has to force the reassuring tone in her voice. This was bound to happen eventually. Natsuki and Yuri have always engaged with each other, the least out of anyone, and this is the reason. As Sayori and Natsuki proceed to distract themselves with manga, Monika sighs to herself, unable to shake her worried thoughts. Will the club really have to just come to terms with the fact that some other members will be incompatible with each other? Monika desperately doesn't want to admit that, and she knows Sayori doesn't either. But for once, a solution doesn't seem to be in sight. That's probably the end of part 1. So this is going to be a longer... I think that last episode was probably the shortest one, but I feel like the rest of them are probably going to be the same length again, it seems like. Alright, Let's Teamwork was a new song. Oh, so there was... I'm guessing there's one new song for every side story, every piece of the side story. Every section. No new files though, so let's move straight on to Reflection Part 2. A new day arrives. And it's a new day! Yes, it is! Boom! I feel like only a certain percentage of people will get that reference. Sayori arrives at the clubroom earlier than usual. That is, not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So she sits down at a desk and pulls out a sheet of paper, primed to jot down her thoughts. Sayori has made a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings onto paper whenever possible, as it tends to serve as her best inspiration for poetry.
My heart feels vacant because a ship sailed away.
Yo, what up?
Yeah! Natsuki!
Natsuki pokes her head out from behind the closet door.
Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
It would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. I doubt you want me listening in on your poetry thing.
Yeah. Thanks for realizing that.
Should I let you just finish up then?
Oh no, I wasn't. I mean, I just do it whenever it's convenient. You're not interrupting or anything.
Where's Monika, by the way?
Oh, she's out in the hallway.
Huh? Why?
Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. Sometimes Yuri is too nervous to come into the clubroom by herself, so...
Oh. Jeez. Does Yuri really let things bother her for that long?
She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you get a bad thought in your head. Maybe you can distract yourself for a little while, but as soon as it's just you and your thoughts again, it comes back.
Huh? I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we'll just ignore it and move on. I don't want to be bothered by this. It's so stupid, her opinion of me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel really guilty and I hate that too.
It's okay to have feelings. It doesn't make you weak or anything. Let's figure this out together.
Fine. Only because you're good at this stuff.
Let's try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that will help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from.
Well, I was happy the way things were before we had to have that conversation yesterday.
What part of the conversation made you upset?
Was it Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe. I doubt it, though. Because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time. I just brush it off and ignore them. But something about it really got to me this time, and I hate that I'm letting it happen.
Is it because it came from Yuri?
No, why would that matter? Baka-chan baka! I mean, well, maybe. I hate that she thinks that she's so much better than me just because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. I mean, I wouldn't say she pretends. She likes sophisticated stuff. She likes sophisticated stuff. Just like how if Natsuki likes cute stuff, then she likes cute stuff. So what? That's who they are. Thumbs up. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide they don't like me or manga or whatever. But Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I mean, she did give it a chance though. She said she used to read it when she was younger and she stopped liking it, basically. Can't be mad just because she decided that she didn't like it anymore. Like, there's certain games and certain things that I, myself, grew out of all the time. But, like, I'm not looking down on other people just because I stopped liking that thing.
I'm sorry. Everybody deserves a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you give Yuri's books a chance?
After this, obviously not.
What about before this?
Well, I wouldn't until I got bored, which probably wouldn't take very long. If you actually keep an open mind, it's not too hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated.
I see. But you know, I like Yuri's books.
Yeah, but you like manga more, right? Sayori shakes her head.
I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. I mean, the manga, it's really honest and fun and easy to just let go with. And the fantasy has a lot to interpret and uncover, and it's really rewarding to have some good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing is that both the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So I love them both. And I think there's room for both of them to be in the same club together. I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. How do you get along with everyone so well? I always get into fights with people. Like, first it was with Monika when I was new to the club, then it was you, and now it's Yuri, and then eventually it will be the protagonist, and then Yuri again. And I'm always like, oh, that person is being such a jerk, and if they just realized that, then at least we could have gotten along. But nobody else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality that everyone's just a jerk to me because nobody likes me. I don't know why. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, at least she's acknowledging it. All of this character growth throughout these chapters, considering this is meant to be a prequel, just makes the main game worse in a sense. Because to me it feels like they all just regressed, I think is the right word. They all just went backwards. And that's really weird. That's really weird. I feel like maybe the first 3 episodes should have acted as a prequel, and then these 3 episodes should have acted as a sequel where the club has gone back to normal or something, maybe, or whatever. I don't know, where Monika comes back and accepts that she's part of the game and just goes along with it or something. I don't know, because then at least it would have showed some more character progression rather than having the character progression and then going back on it in the main game. It's just really odd. I hate it. Natsuki. Sayori puts a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved just as much as anybody else. Everyone has different ways they like to communicate, you know, and sometimes that makes it harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we get lucky and we make friends who are really good at the same kinds of communication. It feels like you magically connect with them. But other times, even if people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other or to get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles a lot with too. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of, reflection and self-awareness and vulnerability. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I always have to be stronger. The strongest. What do you mean? Tell me about that part of you. Sayori's sounding like a therapist right now. And how does that make you feel? Well, it sounds stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me. Like my friends, and I guess my dad, when I don't get good grades or in stupid things, like if my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do, cry about it? If I let myself get upset, then it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So things always have to be everyone else's fault. Feels like if something goes wrong and there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault, then I just get really angry and I find ways to blame everyone else instead. Everything else instead. Do you see yourself as better than Yuri? If I said that, then it would just sound really full of myself. No. Our thoughts and feelings are 2 different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand them if we want to learn more about them about whatever. That's a part of vulnerability, you know? Accepting that we have feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. Because my feelings just want to tell me that I'm so much better than her. That she's just being a judgmental know-it-all who's stuck in her edgy phase, and that I'm just way above that garbage. But I'm terrible for feeling that way. You're not terrible. You are not your feelings. But you are not your feelings. Say that to yourself out loud. Fine. I am not my feelings. The way that I like to picture it is that those feelings are like your roommate. You live in the same house, and you've got to see each other every day. And even if you can ignore each other most of the time, you're going to run into each other every now and then. It's going to make you feel like poop. So, the other option is to get to know each other. You can communicate and learn from each other. Maybe even help each other change for the better. Does that help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with. Call it depression. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. It's always usually the case. It's that phrase, that saying of the happiest people. Well, the happiest people that you know are usually the ones that struggle the most, or something like that. It's a good quote. I am not my feelings. I want to be a good person like you. Oh, you little sweetheart. Oh, look at well. We're all good people. You, Yuri, and Monika. I think Yuri will eventually learn that about you. Natsuki remains silent, feeling a little overwhelmed.
Despite Sayori's kind reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her, as though flowing from a wound inside her. Was it the result of her vulnerability? No. It wasn't as though she was inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as though she began to rediscover an old wound, one that simply cannot be bandaged and left alone any longer. Well, heck. Finally, we're getting this scene. So we'll probably get the CG unlocked after this. Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Hi. Please don't yell at me. Oh, I'm not gonna yell at you. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. It was unfair for me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time I won't try to jump in and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the one mad at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. Can't even have a normal conversation without saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on, that's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a second, then manages a nod. Soccer tryouts in the background and a bake sale. I can't read the third one. Also, there's a sign. Is that like a wet floor sign or something? It looks very futuristic. It looks like a Hyperion design from the Borderlands games. Monika takes a seat next to her on the staircase. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns, and I can't get away from them. What kinds of negative thought patterns? Like, everyone hates me. Especially Natsuki. Aw, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because... Monika thinks back to the time that she found herself in an altercation with Natsuki, and how a display of maturity from Monika was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. But you know, she's really not a bad person. In fact, I think she can be really thoughtful and considerate. She just... Well, I guess the way it works is that she wants to receive some degree of kindness before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh. But that means the burden is on me. I don't know how to say things that make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, I just... Yuri shakes her head at herself and tugs on her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't need to beat yourself up. I think anyone would like you if they had the chance to get to know you. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true. That's why I'm not talkative anymore in the first place. Because everyone used to think I was weird and talk about me behind my back. That just happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said she found it more respectable when people speak their mind, so I did, and then she hated me anyway. That was enough to confirm my fears. But Sayori and I like you, and we've gotten to know you a lot more by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I meant, really. I was just wondering if you had an opinion on her. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me. I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person, so for someone to just treat me like I'm inferior despite my tastes, that's just the worst kind of insult coming from someone like her. It just makes me think bad things about her. But everyone else seems to like her, so the only explanation is that it's me that's doing something wrong again. My feelings about her are wrong. So what you're saying is basically they feel the same way about each other and the same way about themselves. That's quite interesting. And I'm wrong to get upset over something so childish and inconsequential. No, Yuri. Feelings are never wrong. I mean, they can be. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know? They're just a state of being that we don't always have control over. That doesn't mean they have to control us. I feel like that's something I learned around when I first started the club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things. Or we can, you know, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. I could never be mad at you for feeling a certain way. It's about how you handle them. And I think working through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You make it sound so easy. You're so mature and so good with people. I feel like such a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri, I'm far from perfect, but these are learned skills. These are learned skills, however you say that. They didn't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to, like, reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get this far. It's not good enough, though. I want to be able to communicate it to her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Just like that Nickelback song. This is how you remind me of how I really am. Anyway, because I know that it's kind of... I know what it's like to feel misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone else is just a defense mechanism. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of that getting in the way. I can't stand it when the peace is disturbed like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the peace is disturbed, right? The literature club should be happy for everyone. Monika looks at Yuri in adoration. At that point, Monika realizes that she's gay, and she loves Yuri. I feel like Sayori must be rubbing off on me, because I really want to hug you right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, I mean, well, if you wanted to, then I wouldn't really mind, so... Monika pulls Yuri into a short embrace. You're so gentle. I love when you communicate your feelings. I feel lucky to get to see that side of you, and I'm sure Natsuki will too. And then they kiss! I'm gonna write her a letter. Oh, a letter? What a great idea! Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure. I always let my feelings get the best of me, and I forget to say all the important things, and I say things I don't mean. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination undertale. People don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do to you and Sayori. My personality just isn't suited for that, and I wouldn't want it to be. But something I've learned is that friendship doesn't always magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself making friends with someone like Sayori. We're opposite in a lot of ways. But I'm friends with her because she puts so much effort into understanding me so that we can get along. I think it was the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience. And I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I had to be someone that I'm not. That there's a type of person or a magical formula I have to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me to think that, always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendship happens when you think about the other person. When you offer time and effort to understand them and respect them and trust that they also want to be a good person. That's what I learned from my observations in the literature club. Observations? Monika is caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's so unusual to hear her suddenly talking about the club like this. But Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about people. Sayori too. It makes me happy because I learn a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea it meant that much to you. Monika never thought much about it, but in the past weeks, Yuri always seemed to be especially attentive when it came to the problems that concern others, and concerns of others. Always wanting to listen and learn more about her friends in the club. Nice. It's true, Sayori and Monika are naturally more comfortable with other people, and can more easily work through situations of conflict. That doesn't make them better people. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses and the capacity to improve, and the first step towards improving oneself is reflection and self-awareness. It's something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for, but that Monika can recognize as an incredible trait. With that, her confidence in the club is restored. Is that the end of that? Or is there a bit more? There's a bit more. I was gonna say, I don't remember seeing, like a CG scene yet. A very shy girl with long pretty hair is wandering the bustling lunchtime hallways, her fist pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the literature club's president's classroom, she stands at the door, glancing all around her before peering inside. Monika is sitting and chatting with a group of unknown friends. As expected, this was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monika glances towards the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight. Before she can regain composure and decide for sure to leave, the classroom door gently opens. It's Yuri. Yep. Yuri, what a surprise to see you here during lunch. Yuri squeaks a response. Please help me. What? Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness. I thought there was some kind of emergency. It's okay, Yuri. Just go and visit Violet Evergarden and she'll totally sort you out with a letter, trust me. Monika briefly glances over her shoulder at her other friends. Do you want some help? We can go find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad taking you away from your other friends. It's totally fine, I promise. We weren't actually doing anything. One sec. Monika trots back into her classroom, says something like I've gotta go to her friends, and grabs a pen off her desk before returning to Yuri. Okay, let's find somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and follows Monika as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh? Me? Well, yes. Oh gosh, sorry, I was just caught off guard. I'm doing well today, just tired, I guess. Never seems to get enough sleep during the week. How come? Oh, I don't know, I think I'm just easily distracted. I get really sucked into things and start neglecting the time. Me too, I do that too. Hey, this classroom is empty. Let's go in there. After peering inside, Monika opens the classroom door and the two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monika pulls two chairs up to the same desk, and then obeys as Monika beckons her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You nervous? I don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Yuri shakes her head. It's my chance to do something good. I need to take initiative. Gosh, you must really be determined. Undertale. I know how hard it is to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. Yuri pushes for her anxiety and grabs a handful of lined paper from her notebook. Then she picks up her pen. Ah. See, Monika is looking at her with longing eyes. I ship it. I kinda ship it. I don't know why I suddenly ship Monika and Yuri, but I think that'd be really cute. Hey, you're left-handed. That's neat. Yeah. Like me, I'm left-handed. Hi. This is flipped, so it looks like I'm, using my right hand. But in reality, I'm using my left hand. Actually, no, it does look like my... I don't know. I'm confused. Now I don't have to worry about bumping your arm. Monika playfully rubs her shoulder against Yuri's, and then they kissed. Oh, sorry, I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we start by listing the different things that you want to say about to her? Yuri thinks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. Oh, it's okay. How about some of the things that you said to me yesterday? But, never mind, I guess I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment longer, her tension evident. Then she writes the word reflection. This is about my reflection on our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but we've been able to separately be friends with Sayori and Monika. That's me! Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks. I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. Same goes for Natsuki too. We started off as pretty hostile towards each other because I was so worried about getting what I wanted, but she just wanted to be respected more than anything else. Once I stopped making it all about me, she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kinds of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same things for her that I'd like to receive. I like it when people respond positively to the things I talk about and not just brush me off. I like it when my feelings are taken seriously, and I like when you and Sayori trust that I want to be a good person, even when I'm not doing a good job at it. Let's write those things down then. Okay. Yuri writes some things down. I think the most important thing to remember here is that Natsuki is feeling vulnerable, so we should make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to just tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that they know you're ready to respect them and listen to them, and admit the things that you feel you could do better. Then finally, you ask what you would like in return. How does that sound for the structure? It could be 3 paragraphs, one for each of those points. I like that. My thoughts were so disorganized, I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing at these things. Oh my god, this is making me ship the living fuck out of these two right now. Look at that look. Look at the gay. Okay, look at the potential gay here. I know they're not, But it would be so cute. It would be so goddamn cute. I ship it. I love shipping things. I can't help it. Oh, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know. You spent so much time reflecting and being open-minded. That's the hardest thing for anyone to do. All I'm doing is helping you put it on a piece of paper. So I think you're the amazing one. Monika gives Yuri's hand a quick squeeze. I ship it! But as she lets go, she's caught by surprise when Yuri curls her fingers to help Monika's hands in place. For a while they sit like that in silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday you told me something that I've been thinking about a lot. What was that? The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong and they're just a state of being that we need to come to terms with. It's made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always just how they decide to be. It's also made up of their past experiences and their insecurities. I think that helps me see other people as actual people rather than as insignificant side characters who are out to get me somehow. Is that how you feel about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is always trying... that's not the right voice. I thought that was narration for some reason, I don't know why. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best and everyone wants to be happy. Monika peers over at Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, Yuri pulls it in closer, partially covering it with her arm. I have to be able to read it to help out, you know. It's okay. My thoughts are a lot more organized now after being able to talk to you about it. Now that I'm actually put it on paper, I realize I'd prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughs softly to herself, a rare expression. I'm kinda glad to hear that, actually. I somehow keep finding ways to butt into this whole thing. I've done enough damage. It's also been so wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart, but... Yuri smiles. I will always be terrible at these things. People are just so incomprehensible to me. I'll never get the hang of being one. Listening to you has really helped me make sense of some things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monika gives Yuri a gentle smile. Can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy geeks and all I got was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. I still can't tell with you. Sorry. No, I love it. Please, never change. As you wish. I ship them so hard. Yuri glances at the clock. We're almost out of time. Will you be able to finish? Screw the protagonist, these two should get together. They clearly are much better for each other than shitty Shinsuke. Before the end of the day, probably. But I don't want it to come to the club the same day that Natsuki reads it. I'm too shy. I can give it to her instead if you'd like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course, I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales and the two stand up. I'll message you when it's ready. Monika nods. Good luck. I'm here if you need me. Yuri returns a nod and the two depart. Was that the end of that? Alright, cool. I actually couldn't remember where we were up to. Anyways, that is the end of Reflection. That was more of a longer one, so I think Balance was just one of the shorter ones. Next up, we have Self-Love, and I just realised I was going to end the episode, but we have Mail and Pictures. Issues Caused by Unprotected Memory by Ravi Raso, which sounds like a superhero name for some reason. Ravi Raso, the, Rayman. I don't know. Rayman. I don't know why I said Rayman, but whatever. Has anyone evaluated the side effects that might be caused by sharing a memory pool between multiple VMs rather than allocating them separately? I'm looking at some of the files VM1 is generating, and I'm finding some information that definitely shouldn't be there. I haven't seen any evidence that this is actually affecting the inside of the VM itself, so I don't think this is a priority, but it's definitely worth noting. My best guess is that memory being freed from VM2 isn't getting zeroed out, which technically gives VM1 access to it. All the info I have will go into the issue tracker, but I wanted to check if anyone else already noticed something along these lines. I still have no idea what's going on with that, but it's interesting. Yep, there's the Yuri scene. Aw, that's cute. She dropped her papers. Aw, heck. Heck. That background's really nice, though. Was that it? Or was there, yeah, the CG scene. Look at the gear. Hell yes. Hell yes. In fact, this game has some kind of gay moments. Like Dad as well. Kind of. Although I know they're just friends helping each other, but it just kind of looks that way. That could be construed as gay a little bit, but that to me looks more like it's just more of an awkward moment. But good God, I love this game. And the final, yep, the final area scene. Nice. We got that now. I'm still curious how you get all the rest of this promo art. I'm wondering if these are like more secretive things. Like this one is selecting horror during the poem game. That one's for deleting Monika for a second time. So I feel like these are done in secret ways maybe. Like maybe I have to pick specific things or do specific things. I don't know. Anyway, next up is self-love. So I'll be doing that in the next episode. I'm not sure if the next episode is the last one or not, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, thank you for... Wrong one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Pip pip toodaloo!